Thank you to our sponsor, EJ Cards, a small but motivated company specializing in cards. EJ Cards believe passionately in great bargains and excellent service, which is why they commit themselves to give you the best of both. If you're looking for something new, you're in the right place. EJ Cards strive to be industrious and innovative, offering customers something they want, putting their desires at the top of the priority list. Find EJ Cards at www.ejcards.com.au or shop 394 to 398 Middleborough Road, Blackburn, Victoria, and also find them on Facebook. Thank you very much, EJ Cards, for sponsoring us.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 69 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. Russell, it's just you and me.
It is. No guest this week, which is, it's kind of nice to have a bit of alone time out.
It is. It's
good
nice
to have guests, but it's
like we can divulge the fact that we are pre-recording because you're not going to be here.
I'm like a ghost.
I'm a little bit sad. I was looking forward to the hobby hangout.
I mean, I was too, but
it's
life gets in the way,
silly calendars. But yes.
All right.
So it's just you and me. Let's what do we do? Like, we can ask each other questions, but
I think we have to.
So, how did you get started in the hobby, Russell? Or would you rather just go back into it? Let's get back to some normality. Let's start off with our friends at Gemrate. How about that?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. I believe if I check, you sent me through some images.
Yeah. So Ryan,
we should put these up.
Has very diligently put us together some stuff that actually, and I requested it this week. So sometimes I say to him, just, do whatever you want. But this week I was like, I'm fixated on Cam Thomas. Can you give me some Cam Thomas content? So
you want some Cam Thomas action. I'm going to see if I can.
So if we start looking at the first graph, it's the bar graph, and it's total cards graded at PSA in the thousands on February 16th. So Cam Thomas is at 1.3.
Yep.
Evan Mobley is at 12.5. Scotty Barnes at 14.4. Jalen Green at 17.6. And Cade Cunningham at 21.7. So
that's interesting.
For me, it's very interesting because part of, in the back of my mind, I'm kind of like, people would be dropping off Cade Cunningham at the moment because he's injured. His card prices are going down a lot.
Well, you've pointed out how much cheaper it is to grade him now.
Yeah.
So maybe everyone's either been listening to the pod or has a similar way of thinking and going, you know what? He's going to be amazing down the track.
Yeah,
so
I'm sticking to my
bulk?
theory. That just helps sort of solidify it for me, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I think the next one for me that's really interesting too is just where Jalen Green sits, because it really just shows, how hobby relevant that guy is.
Yeah.
Particularly for, I feel in my mind, how basketball irrelevant he is.
Yeah, so it's an interesting, it's true.
Like, Houston are just so appalling this year. And the thing that worries me about their commitment and dedication to playing both ends of the ball and playing, team basketball is, how do you shake off those, terrible habits that you've developed over a couple of years? And look, the kid is so talented. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's definitely interesting. It's he could end up on a good roster, but he doesn't have that winning culture.
Well, I think the assumption for me is that he's going to be the number one piece in Houston, and that he will then create that culture and be someone that they build around. But it's a bit like the process in Philly, and if you really think about it, like who survived the process? Just Embiid, and that's it. Like,
literally.
I feel like it's not really something to be messed with.
It's a very risky. It's a risky proposition, but
to be deliberately atrocious, it's really hard. Yeah,
but it's one of those things, I guess. If you're looking at people prospecting, people grading, they see this as a real opportunity. Like you see the Cade Cunningham numbers, Jalen Green. Maybe they're just like waiting for the Houston explosion, like when they get good.
I wonder if the Jalen Green thing is more about the Fruja factor, and that he is a very exciting, and he does create a lot of
Yeah.
highlights, and he gets stats. So I wonder if that's actually more people are just, genuinely hobby interested in this dude.
Yep.
And then probably for me, the next sort of commentary is the Scotty Barnes versus the Evan Mobley thing. And I think the general consensus this year is, Barnes hasn't been great and he hasn't stepped up as much. And you could probably say the same thing about Mobley. But the reason why I'm surprised about that, like, if anything, I maybe thought Mobley would stay second in front of
Mm.
Jalen Green and definitely in front of Scotty Barnes, because just how well the Cavs have been playing. Like, they've been playing just really beautiful basketball. And I suppose maybe he's more of a complimentary piece, and that does take away from it. But
Yeah. And then Cam Thomas. Get on board, hey? Choo-choo.
maybe that. So what does that 1.3 mean to you with Cam?
It means a bunch of people have tried to do a rush turnaround and get some cards graded, I reckon.
So you don't think that was just like sort of something that was bubbling along? You think that's actually...
That's like a mini spike.
So people have sent them through like Super Express then? Is that what you think?
Yeah. Like get it and flip it maybe.
Yeah, rightio.
Like I don't see him being on the radar before that explosion, if that makes sense. You mean he's not someone you're prospecting as a general rule. You look at the way the stats went,
Yeah.
and it went from nothing to bang. And I do think people try to capitalize, and I'm not having a go at anyone for doing so. I just think there are people that see a need and go, there aren't many graded cards for this guy. Bang, get as much as I can in, and let's try and flip it, get that quick return. Probably hoping that he was gonna explode a bit bigger than he has.
Yeah.
Rather than those sort of 3 games, have it be more consistent. But we'll
so
see.
he's the youngest player to have 3 40-point games.
And I'm sure everybody that sells one of those cards will have that in their narration.
In their eBay listing, yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
No, I mean, good. It is historic in that sense, but I was going to say LeBron's got like another almost 20 years of basketball to that resume to be the basketballer he is. So we'll see where it evolves to. But it is, I think,
not everything revolves around LeBron. All right, we don't need to keep coming back to like your sort of Laker fanboyism.
I haven't said Lakers once. You just broke the Laker embargo.
I didn't put Cam Thomas and LeBron James in the same sentence.
LeBron played for 3 teams. Thank you very much. He's a Cleveland boy. Anyway, Cam Thomas.
If we move on to the next graphic, cards graded by month at PSA, Cade Cunningham, 4,813, Jalen Green, 4,355, Scotty Barnes, 3,306, Evan Mobley, 2,602, and at the very bottom, 2,774. Sorry,
274.
274 for Cam Thomas, not 2,000. My mistake.
Yep. So 3/5 of nothing.
Interesting stuff, isn't it? I think this is something to keep an eye on over the next couple of months to sort of see, how valid
it goes.
How valid that Cam Thomas spike was, because is it something that's going to keep on going, or is it literally just going to be, a quick up and then it's going to go back to normal? So
I can't help myself here, because this is I'm gonna tie this all off and segue into the next spike.
The next spike.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Mac MC Lung. Is that what we agreed to call him? Mac McClung, dunk competition winner.
Spiking huge.
We haven't got the hot stats, but I'm guessing after that dunk contest, we will see a spike of maybe to the level that this man can jump.
Well, I tell you what, I'll tell you some of his sold prices, and then you tell me if that's overpriced or underpriced, or you think it's pretty reasonable. So 2021 Panini Prism draft pick. So that's the college product. It's when he's in his Texas Tech uniform. 1 of 1 white sparkle, sticker autograph, current bid with 26 minutes left, 1,747 USD.
What? That's a spike.
Over, under, or just right?
I'm going to stick with over.
Panini Prism draft picks base 9 USD.
Draft picks base 9 USD. Probably over, but if you want one, you get one. Yep.
I would generally say that, like, so a base of, say, LaMelo or a base of Anthony Edwards, if you
Yep.
got, I'd say in the current market, if you got $10 for those guys, you'd be doing like really well.
Okay.
If you sold an average sort of player for, say, 50 cents, I'd say you're doing really well.
Yeah.
So I think to get $9 for McClung, that's like,
Bang.
I
Profit,
feel like,
profit, profit.
yeah, but I would probably also say too that's maybe going to be some buyer's regret.
An All-Star Weekend hangover.
Yeah, particularly because he actually does have pro uniform rookie cards. So, generally what happens when that Prism draft product comes out,
Yeah.
as soon as the pro stuff hits, like that stuff really does bottom out quite hard. So,
Mm. But look, I think Mac is a very interesting example here, because I believe that his wage is lower than the amount he won for winning the dunk contest. I may
yeah, so
have read that wrong. Yeah.
his total earnings pre the All-Star game was $106,000, and then he
And
won $100K for winning
yeah, like
for winning the dunk
he's
comp.
he's definitely. I mean, has he been getting minutes this year? I've never heard of the guy until the dunk competition. And look at that.
He's definitely been around, but I think, yeah, I mean, to be fair, he definitely wasn't getting that much shine. Alrighty, NBA hoops, hot rookie auto, $150. Again, sticker auto, unnumbered.
I wonder if these people have just like
These people
sold
are
their
they're losing their minds, honestly.
sold couldn't buy a Cam.Thomas on the spike, so invested in
$76, a
Mac.
green draft pick sticker auto.
Sticker auto draft picks. Nah.
Base draft picks, $550 is another one. And then there's a hollow draft picks for $11.50.
Yeah,
$10.50 for a green draft picks base.
I
Now
don't
this
know.
is
Nah,
interesting, this one.
this
It's
seems
wild.
crazy.
It's really wild, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is now this product is actually from Chronicles. It's a College Chronicles product. So it's a Don Russ. It's a sticker auto. It's actually come back PSA 10. It's sold for $520. So can we just hold that? So I'm just going back to Triple J the other day because you said that his PSA 10 silver sold for 700, and then
Way back when. Yep.
yeah, and now recently it's selling for like
60.
$60, right? I wonder if this is going to have a similar sort of trajectory of like,
Yeah, like
you,
that's
you might lose 85 to 90% of your buy-in on this. Did you
yep.
see how I didn't use the word investment then? Because
I like it.
um,
I like it.
again, Panini Prism's draft picks,
They're
Orange
interesting
Pulsar.
sets as well. Yeah.
Look, I really like this product. I've been on the
The product looks
record.
fine. Yeah.
It's a really good product. It's really good for me because I don't follow college at all, so it's a great way for me to sort of indoctrinate myself with the current rookies. And actually,
Yeah.
I quite like the different parallels they do and stuff like that. But I've always said that just be very wary of buying this stuff because of the way that the price really does fall off, and I'm really concerned for some of these buys. So this one's an Orange Pulsar to 49 that sold for $51. That's
Yeah.
probably the least bad of all of these. Is that how you say that? The least bad.
The least bad.
All right,
The sale that will come with the least buyer's remorse.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
that has potentially the most chance to do the best. The only thing I'd probably add to that is, is that PSA worthy to send off to get graded? I would probably say the Orange Pulsars are, beautiful. It's numbered to 49.
Yeah.
Not bad.
But it's like I mean, yeah, to wrap this little bit up about Mac, and I don't want to
You've had enough
rag
talking
on the
about.
guy, but it's unfortunately, you look at his career, and this is going to be a highlight. Like I
So,
don't see
who are other comps in this space? Would you say like someone like Harold Miner?
maybe.
He won the dunk competition one year,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
It's
didn't have much of a NBA career.
okay. So we're like
How
dunk.
about that? Is that a reasonable comp? Who else do you think is a reasonable comp in that space?
I'm gonna go to my lovely friend the internet. All right, they're okay. There's like you look at there's you got Levine, Glenn Robinson the third.
Is that the Glenn Robinson that was in the league with Golden State like last year? Or do you mean Glenn Robinson, who was the number one overall pick out of Purdue with the nickname the Big Dog?
No. I meant the one that was just recent, like with inside the last.
I don't think he won a dunk competition, did he?
He won the 2017 dunk competition.
Did he really?
Yep.
See, this is why the internet is
All right.
so
What
amazing.
about Jeremy Evans?
No. So
I'm just saying there are names that I just look and go,
look,
who?
any of these guys are totally fine. So
Yeah.
I mean, look, just really quickly flicking through Harold Miner, 14-15 Upper Deck Exquisite, numbered to 60, autograph $3.87 USD. Harold Miner, 21-22 Donruss Elite, numbered to 49, $5. 21-22 Prism sticker autograph. It looks like hollow, $5. So, we're sort of floating in that.
All right. I've got one. I've looked through the. Here we go. Because it's we've got to go not a like for like, but similar to the like for like philosophy.
Sure.
Are you ready for it? 2004, Fred Jones. Could you think of a more generic name for a dunk contest winner?
He was actually a decent NBA player too, and he had a role on some pretty good playoff teams
For the Pacers.
So that's a high end Mac McClung comp. So let's go with that, mate.
Okay,
that's a good one. Yeah. So what do you got for me?
Where are we?
What do you got for sold?
I'm looking on Card Ladder. Like I'm not looking at rookies.
Is he got stuff on Card Ladder?
Yeah, like there's a top 2006 Topps Chrome second unit refractor Fred Jones numbered to 99, game worn for the Pacers, sold for $1.25.
Okay, so tread carefully, I think is the message here, isn't it?
I'm like, there are a lot of players in NBA history that win the dunk contest and don't do much else, and that will see a brief spike followed by a very rapid decline because they fade into back to the back of people's minds again. Like this is probably this guy's 15 minutes.
So if you're holding McClung, I think your advice is basically saying to sell, isn't it? Yeah.
Sell. Don't hold it. Don't buy it. Sell it. Because this is your moment.
If you love it, hold on to it. Because
unless you've got a PC that is dunk champions.
If you PC them, that's totally fine. But I'd say if you PC it, just probably wait. I think what you're saying is right, it'll come down.
Yeah. Anyway, it's the Faruja factor in full effect.
at peak effect.
At peak effect.
All right, so segueing into our next little segment, I think we should talk about first-time All-Stars. So
the All-Star weekend did come and go.
Yeah.
So let's continue with the fun break of the All-Star break.
Did you see any of the highlights at all from?
I saw a scoreboard thing and a couple of highlights with top scorers and things, and that was about it.
Did you see?
I'll bring up the box score.
Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown went 1-on-1, and everyone else stood off to the side.
Yeah, that was one of the clips I saw that was circulating.
That was very awkward. And
do
you remember that Rising Stars game when they did almost the dunk competition and they just stood around and watched each other do dunks? It sort of almost took me back to that a little bit. I was like, I don't think this is the vibe that Adam
This is
Silver
not what they want.
He's trying to develop here. So,
well, you can't really stage the All-Star game. You've got to let them play and see what happens.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though.
Can we start with Haliburton?
You can indeed.
All right. So I think Haliburton's really interesting because I think it's fair to say that for him to be an All-Star this year, a lot of things had to sort of go right for him. And I'd probably also say too, 12 months ago, if you predicted this guy to be an All-Star, it would have been a little bit of a reach. I think he's a skillful guy, but I'd also say too, there's a little bit of a popularity contest that goes into the All-Star weekend and, getting selected for it. And then I think also probably my concern a little bit too with him playing in Indiana is the Rick Carlisle factor in that, Carlisle was actually known as like very much a micromanager and, keeping point guards, very much under a leash. And I think he's been very liberal with Haliburton, and and he's a very good decision maker, and I think that's reasonable. So
Yeah.
I think just as I've been shocked that Mike Brown is now one of the best, or coaching one of the best offensive teams in the league, maybe it's also possible that Carlisle's come around a little bit. So
Yeah.
um, look, actually, I wouldn't say I'm heavily invested in Haliburton, but I'm a bit of a Kings fanboy, so I've got a fair bit of Haliburton just through going breaks and all the rest of
Mm.
it, and I've actually not really kept track of where he's been going at. So this is really interesting for me. So his PSA 10 currently is sitting at 315 USD.
Ooh.
I don't think that's under. I don't think that's over. I think for someone that age and how he's performing at the moment, I think that's very reasonable. The thing that is very interesting for me is his 3 month trend. He's actually down 35%. So, and I wouldn't say that that concerns me particularly because, we do know that things trend up and down. And again, we spoke about this in the last episode. I wonder if because these particular
Mm.
landmarks happen and people wait for them to come and then a whole heap floods onto the market. I
That's
wonder if
true.
that has that gone into it. So look, I would probably put this actually as a buy. I
Okay.
wouldn't put it as a strong buy, but I would say that I think Haliburton is, a very good prospect. I think age is definitely on his side in terms of, his potential, and
Mm. Yeah.
there's
I
not a lot of reason why he won't repeat as an all-star.
no, I don't see him not repeating as an all-star.
Yeah.
I think he'll yeah, there'll be a time. I don't know if it's in the next 2 years, but there will be a time where he is on the ballot and is picked as a starter.
Yep.
I think he's definitely got that kind of ceiling on him for sure.
So
Without a
leading
doubt.
into the person that really got Haliburton traded away, it's De'Aaron Fox. So De'Aaron Fox is someone who's very near and dear to my heart. So I probably should step away from this one and let you do the breakdown of
Oh,
him.
look, I see how this is. We banned the Lakers, but we're bringing Fox into the spotlight. Is that right?
The reason why we're bringing Fox into the spotlight is because of basketball merit, not because we're
That
just like
9 minutes in the
riding,
All Star game.
not because we're riding the Lakers jock because basketball commentators are too lazy to talk about something interesting. Don't get me started on this. You know I hate that like lazy media mainstream.
Yes, yes. Sounds like a long-suffering Sacramento fan. Anyway, yeah, no, you can talk about Fox. I didn't watch the All Star game. I was actually quite happy that he was brought into the All Star squad. He was brought in as an injury replacement, right?
Yeah, he was. Look, for me it's
I think he was. I think he was. He was very unlucky not to get selected, and I think he's not far off
well it
the
was,
season he's having.
so this is the thing that I was sort of struggled with a little bit. Look, at the end of the day, I care but I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, but for me it
Yes.
was interesting that Sabonis got picked ahead of him.
Yep.
Like that, I did really struggle with that. And then it really made me think like, is that actually just I can't accept that because of my bias because I am
Yeah.
invested into the dude and something like that. But look, he got there in the end, and obviously he was so close to the cusp that he was an injury replacement. But anyway,
It
so
was. It was good to
his
see.
his prices are currently at 200 for a PSA 10 silver. He's down 8%. He's been as low as 98 for a silver. So if you've been picking them up in that sort of 100 USD range, I think that's a pretty good buy. He got up. There was points a couple of years back. He was like 600 USD for. And to be honest, my feeling about this card was I was never going to be able to reach it into my PC
Mm,
because I just felt it was too much for a silver.
yeah.
And I think if we, historically go back and discuss, frankly why this happened is because he was pumped up. Who was that investor guy?
N-
Vandercheck or
Not the sports card investor guy.
no, hang on, give me 2 seconds. I've got his book on my desk.
I
Gary V. Gary V.
Mr. V friends. We've got to check in on that at some point.
No,
Anyway,
we don't. We don't. We need to bury that.
it's funny because it's true.
So look, Gary
Um,
Vee did this whole thing about him and how everyone should be buying, Darren Fox. And look, probably what we now know in hindsight is that he loaded up on Fox, used his social media platform to, spike him up, and then, dumped all his stock when he made 3 or 4x of his cash. And so the
Interesting,
market
that.
the market has, really, if we're using the word, corrected itself in that time
Yeah.
from, 600 all the way down to 100. And so, look, probably at 100, I think that for a young all-star who's still got, quite a lot of potential, who's doing a lot of good clutch shooting, fourth quarter shooting, all that type of stuff. Look, I probably think at $100, that's a really good buy. I think now we're back up to that sort of $200 mark. The conversation sort of changes again. I think
Mm.
the risk profile, really does like come around again.
Yeah.
So, you might be able to wait and pick up one for, a cheaper price.
Yeah.
But at the same time too,
The direction of the trend has changed.
yeah, look, at
I
$100,
feel like we're headed back upwards. Yeah.
yeah, he's definitely trending back up. But I suppose what I'm saying is at $100, for me, that will be an A plus buy. But at 200, I still think it's okay. But
It's an A. It's no longer an A plus,
I'm not frothing over it. I'm
or
not,
it's a B plus.
I'm not
Yeah.
screaming at the microphone for every collected, to go out and get him. But, so Fox is at 200 and Haliburton, what was he sitting at? So my memory is
Three.
shocking.
Hang on. Just kick back. 312
So,
or
for me,
315. Yeah.
that's really interesting for me because, Fox is probably the flashier player of the two.
Yep.
And if anything, I probably would have said, the pricing would be like flipped on its head a little bit. So I wonder if people are very skeptical about Fox and sort of like don't want to they've already been burnt by the dude. They don't want to tip their toes back in.
It's very much is this a flash in the pan this season? And I think people are sort of waiting a little bit. It's
Look,
interesting though. Sacramento are a place to make the playoffs, and
yeah,
we'll see how deep they can go. And I think that'll definitely bode in his favor if they can.
look, my gut feeling, to be honest, is I don't think he's going to go up too much more than this. I wonder if he's
He's found
he's
this is
found
his
his
level.
price. Yeah, this
Yep.
is where he's going to be, and that's that. So,
Yep. No, I agree.
yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
All right, Lauri Markkanen. Current PSA 10 price is 151 USD. He's actually up 15% in the last 3 months. Hey, Ad, can you give us a little bit more data on the last 6 months for this guy? Because I suspect if we look at the the 6 month or the 12-month data, he'll be up like 100%. I still haven't got my card ladder login sorted out, mate.
Man, I'm all over that stuff. All right. So looking at the 2 years of data,
Yeah,
because
sure. 2 years, 1 year, whatever. I
yeah.
think that'll be more interesting, I think, than the 3-month data for this guy.
I mean, I can go all time as well. Hang on, is that crazy? Nah, yeah, 2 years is fine.
Yeah,
Two
even
years is
1 year
fine.
is fine, but that's
Yeah.
fine, yeah, because he spiked
So
really this season. So yeah,
he did. So at the beginning of, so we'll look at what November, December. Where are we? Yeah. Yep. I always look at I see the 12/11, and I'm like, is that the 11th of December? I think it is. Anyway, $81. Right. Start of the season. So we've got September, $50. Early season spiked up to 270. People went off the boil. Christmas time was around the $50 mark again. But
how
then we
many
see he's
sold for $50?
how many? Just the I haven't even got the sales. I'll
That's
go
okay.
into the 6 months. There we
That's
go.
okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
But it's there are 44 sales in the last 6 months of his silver PSA 10. Now they've ranged from $50 on the 16th of September to $270 on the 6th of November. Most recently, we've got the 17th of February, 151, and the 10th of February, 249. So he's still in flux, I would say.
Yeah.
But it has been creeping back up because it was sold in December for 47. I think that looks like an anomaly because a lot of they average between 80 and $100 for that period.
Look, my feeling about this guy is that he's
His
in a
peak was in 2021.
yeah, but
$375 was the peak.
yeah. Look, okay. So my concern about this guy is that he's in a very strange market at the moment with Utah because I think being kind to him, part of the reason why he got new opportunity was they definitely made a coaching change there. And I think that the coach there is very good.
Mm.
And I think that style of play that Utah has with essentially with ball handlers and shooters all over the floor is like a poor man's OKC, what they're trying to do. Like, I think OKC have got a very similar sort of like blueprint there,
Yep.
but they've sort of got like this young talent, and then Utah have got this like weird sort of like grizzled, highly skilled and maybe undervalued people that they just sort of brought in, and
With chips on
Ainge,
their shoulder.
yeah,
I
and
would say,
Ainge sort
yeah.
of dug all these like salty dogs out. Like I get why they're a very competitive team, but
Mm,
I think what my concern is that A, it's Utah, small market, and then
yeah.
B, the winds could change in that place so that they could
Yeah.
execute a massive trade. They get someone who comes in that's, the first or the second option, that puts Markkinen down to the third option, which I think
Mm,
is probably where his championship.
suited.
Yeah, if you realistically, I don't think he's going to be the number one on a championship team. So
So,
I think I'll just be worried about spending 200 USD on this guy, and then
yeah,
the
agreed.
situation would change. Yeah,
So when he entered the hobby, I've gotten the all-time stats.
yeah,
First lot of PSA 10s was selling for 200 US, 180 to 210 was the range,
yeah,
which is interesting, right? It then dipped away to a $50, then stabilized around the 120 to 150 mark,
yeah,
dipped again, spiked with a peak of 425 in February 21, which
yeah.
is around the time of the COVID crazy spike. Is that right? 2021
Ballpark.
ballpark of, and then the market started correcting. So there's a couple of spikes, but it's this gradual decline back to the 50, back up to what 270, and then it hovers where it sort of hovered at the beginning of his career. So maybe that 150 mark, like card ladder value is values at 145 US,
Yeah,
and says he's currently overvalued.
yeah. Oh, it actually gives you an over and undervalued, does it?
Yeah, based on sales and history and growth. I don't know how that's calculated.
Why
It'll
don't
tell
we
me.
send Cardler an email? They might explain it to
It's
us.
got a little pop-up thing there. Card ladder value seeks to reflect the card's current market price. It's determined by anchoring the card's last sold to the player's total market index. As the index fluctuates from day to day, so does the card's card ladder value. This particular card ladder value has a confidence level of 5 out of 5. The more recent the last sold price is, the higher the confidence level. So if it's a card that's being flipped currently, they're more confident.
Yeah, that makes sense because there's more data points for them to analyze.
Correct.
Yeah.
They also, and I just popped this out, when you see population, have you got card ladder up in front of you, even
Yeah.
though it's not logged in? Have you got the little book next to the pop?
No.
There is an icon with a little book that says view in-depth population report data provided by Gemrate.
Yeah.
And that is interesting. Like it actually breaks it down. All the PSAs, all the Beckett, SGC, and CSG shows you population growth. It's actually some very interesting charts. So people playing with Ryan's data there, very, very in a very interesting way.
Yeah, good on Ryan.
I like it. I just like the way the data's laid out here. It's good.
So
Good.
I just want to add one more piece of this. The pop count of the Lauri market is 157.
Yep.
And the other card that's in my head to compare this to directly is Jaren Jackson Jr., who was also a first-time All-Star.
Yeah.
So we spoke about Triple J last week, so I don't want to like go deep
Delve too
diving
much.
into this, but at the same time, it's still worth talking about because
Sure.
his current PSA 10 price is 81 USD.
Mm-hmm.
But keep in mind the pop count though is 1,040. So essentially,
Wow.
nearly 9 and a bit times more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Pop counts are an interesting one though sometimes for these cards. But you're right, Lauri Markkinen is in that era where there were lots of card, like you could have. It's from the same draft class as Luka, is it?
So Lauri Markkinen was the same year as Tatum and Fox and
Tatum.
Fultz, and
Yeah.
then
Okay.
Jaren Jackson was the same year as Luka, Trae Young.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
How much does that sort of factor into the pricing?
It's just a lot of cards, I guess. It's just yeah.
I do wonder though if the Lauri Markkinen graded cards will go up a bit. So let's just say this is 157.
Yeah.
Could that get to 1,000? I mean, that's a long way to go, isn't it? But
that's a fair way to go.
Yeah.
You have to do some Jordan Poole-esque kind of stuff.
Alrighty, another first-time All-Star is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So
Let's have a
I'm
look.
happy for this guy. I think that I think he's had a hard NBA career. I think starting behind Chris Paul
Yeah.
would have been hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think there would have been some good parts of it, being coached by, a legend of the game. But I can also imagine how that would have impacted his playing time, and maybe Chris Paul's not the greatest of teammates. Like, who exactly knows? And then going to OKC, when, if we can be all brutally honest, I don't think they were always trying to win there.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
Tanking is the other way.
Yeah. So, SGA price at the moment is $380 USD for a silver PSA 10. The pop count on that is 549. So
Yep.
half of Triple J.
It is half a Triple J. I'm looking at the all-time data. Just
Talk to me about that, mate.
the all-time data is scary. He peaked, and it was November 2020 at 1,200.
Okay. I was going to guess $1,000. Yeah.
1,200 USD.
So now that he's sitting at 380 USD, does that make it a buy for you, or how do you feel about him?
I am going to. How can I look at this?
My answer to this is that I wouldn't use this as a speculative card to purchase on.
Yeah.
I would buy this if you PC him and you love his game and you believe in him. But for me, this is not. I don't really feel like this is someone that you'd want to be just playing like a speculative game on, because
All right.
I think the prices, frankly, is quite high, and he's a talented guy. But how can I say this? I don't think he's going to take like a Triple J dive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if this did go down from 380, I could understand that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked. So
yeah,
for me, this is just a stay away.
The sale prior to that was 500.
Yeah.
So
Look,
he's
I mean,
up and down.
The cards
overall
do go up and down,
he's down. He's down 15%. So
what's the card ladder recommendation on this?
It doesn't actually have. It doesn't say if he's over or undervalued.
Okay, cool. Interesting. What's your 2 cents on SGA?
I think you're right. It's buyer beware. He's the centerpiece for OKC, but I feel like he's already at a value for the centerpiece of OKC, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And I think that's just sort of reaffirming what you said about buyer beware. I just don't think he's really got very high to go, if that makes sense. I don't know. It just there are better buys on the market, would be my thought on it. But if you like SGC, by all means, get on board. I don't think you're going to lose out terribly.
I think you said SGC then.
Oh, SGA.
As in the
SGB? SGD.
Did you mean the grading company?
Yeah, both of them. Jump on board for both. Why not? Send them to SGC to get SGA graded.
Alrighty. Our last first-time All-Star is Anthony Edwards. And this one for me is, I left this one to last on purpose because for me this is like the juiciest one. PSA 10 silver, pop count is 1,080. Last sold for $550. He's down 16%. So I think if you did everything you could possibly do wrong to this kid in terms of roster building, they've done it to him. And if there was going to be, something negative happening to his, card value, I think even if we've seen it already, it's happened already, or if we were going to see it, that time has passed. Do you know what I mean? So I think he's weathered that storm. I think he has everything to succeed in the NBA, but more importantly, he's got everything to succeed in the hobby world. I think he's going to have the production value there. I think he's got the right type of personality, even though there was some weird stuff coming out of social media in the last couple of weeks. I think I'll give him like half a pass on that. Just hopefully it's just like a one and done thing.
Yeah.
And then his 3-point shooting is prolific, and he might turn out to be one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, which to me is like such a weird thing to say when how much athleticism and dunking ability the kid's got. So
I'm at 550.
I think that's correctly priced.
I think we're right where he is at the moment, but as far as where his ceiling is, one of two things need to happen, right?
Talk to me. Talk to me.
Either Minnesota need to figure out how to manage a basketball team, and that is manage the roster that they've got and build within and actually do something to get rid of the problems they've had, because they've tried a variety of different things. I don't know. I still don't understand why they went for Gobert.
The Towns Gobert pairing is for me a very incredibly high risk maneuver.
Yes, and it's
The amount of assets they gave up for Gobert is just like, frankly,
you
that
can see
should
it
be
though.
fired. That's ridiculous.
But Minnesota have literally have been one of the least successful franchises in NBA history, and they're showing why they are, because they've had all these great assets and they're doing so poorly with it. What does that say for Edwards? Either he moves on at some point and absolutely shines, or Minnesota say, you know what, we've got a good thing here. We made the playoffs last year. Like, we need to build on that, and they take this forward. But what we're seeing this season is it's we're starting to see glimpses of the old Minnesota, and I think that is hurting Anthony Edwards' potential, I guess.
I mean,
As
the
that,
irony is about everything that we've just sort of slayed the Wolves about. They're still 31-30 at the moment, which is
yeah,
good for the 8th spot,
yep.
despite
They've
how
got they've got
awkward.
some great players, but they can't solve the off the court stuff together. Like, they just don't feel they do everything to destroy team chemistry, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And until they learn, there's something wrong, and it's got to be it's off the court somewhere, because the stats that those guys can put up are insane. They are a decent squad, but they just don't seem to be able to build.
I probably need to watch a couple more games to see how he and Conley go together, because
Yeah, it'll be very interesting.
and will Conley unlock Gobert, and is that where they'll sort of focus their attention to building their
Yeah.
team into next year, if they're going to stick with this Gobert
Well,
Towns pairing, which is
yeah,
bananas to me.
yeah. But I just hope Anthony Edwards finds a spot in that dynamic.
So, are you buying, holding, or selling Edwards at 550?
At 550, I'm very tempted to jump on and buy at that,
Okay.
because I think if Minnesota are a successful team in the coming years, this piece is one of the key factors. And I think he's an all-star starter of the future. So he's got the potential, but we'll see if they let him flourish in Minnesota. Otherwise, he leaves, and who knows? He might be a centerpiece for somebody else.
Yeah.
But I think he's a very, very solid player, and definitely, I think he's thereabouts at 500.
I think Edwards is very popular in the hobby circles, and when I say popular, I think that a lot of his veteran stuff, so after his rookie year, that's what I mean when I say vet.
Yeah.
Particularly his autographs, like, they're doing really, really well. And I think that for me,
It's the Netflix factor.
yeah, maybe Netflix I could too, but also too, it just sort of like makes me think that, this isn't just sort of a flash in the pan with him. Like, he is
There's
the type of
something
guy,
about this kid.
yeah,
Yeah.
that could sort of just bubble along a little bit. So I think if I'm putting myself into, buying an Edwards, I don't actually have a problem with the 550 mark, but if I could be watching auctions and, you do have to put a bit of work into this to get it done. But I think if you could try and get one for less than 500, I think that would be really good. So,
Yeah.
this is because for me, that's a pretty reasonable purchase. Like, this is not pocket change for me.
Yeah.
Like, being
for sure.
pragmatic about this. And the other thing you can consider in this situation too is, do you make this your off-season purchase where you wait for the market to cycle down?
Do you hope the Minnesota Timberwolves don't quite make the playoffs? See
You're
it drop
setting,
off a bit.
yeah, you're setting all your eBay notifications. You're going into PWCC once a week and you're checking out all the auctions. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing all that sort of. Look, it's work. Like, I'm not going to lie to you, but I think that's something you could look at.
I'll tell you what, if I don't know if this is a feature of Card Ladder Pro. We'll get round to that.
Yeah.
But there is currently 15 hours remaining on an auction. I think it's a golden auction. PSA 10. Anthony Edwards Silver Prism, currently at $448 US.
448.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Current price.
So the other one that took my eye too was the choice red number to 88. It's raw, so obviously, you are taking, it's a different risk profile to buying a PSA 10.
Yeah.
But the last sold price on that was $416. So
Okay.
I, we talk about pop counts all the time and all that type of stuff. There's 88 of these and that's it. So
Now,
I,
yeah, for sure.
Also ironically too, that's actually cheaper than a silver PSA 10. So
Yeah.
for me, I can swallow that. You know what I mean? Like that's not, for me, that's not so bad. So I think that's probably what I'd be looking at if I'm looking at different
Interesting.
things. Look at numbered cards. If you're
Yeah.
going to be buying into that price range, you need to sort of think, where's my money best spent?
Yeah. How do you want to spend that money? You used the term pocket change before. Now, before we move on from All Star Weekend, this scoreline does not even fit into pocket change because he dropped over 50 points. Tatum, what the hell?
Yeah.
He doesn't qualify for pocket change. He dropped a 50.
I don't want to be
55 to Jason Tatum.
the old man complaining in the room, but there's not a lot of D played, and they were letting Tatum take a lot of shots once he got hot. So
Yeah, but it's
it
it's the
was,
highest score in an All-Star game. So we
yeah.
have to give it a little bit of kudos.
I actually wonder if Larry Bird was watching the game and just sitting there, just like swearing into his beer, or Jordan was just like sitting there shaking his head, saying, that would never happen in my day. I could just almost imagine that sort
It
of.
is. And you, like, at what point is the All-Star game going to be like 200 points apiece?
I think they are trying to do things to make it more competitive, like the way that they've structured each
Yeah.
quarter now, and the scoring, like the way the game ends. Like I think it's worth a try, but
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't help when Giannis goes into the game, like, and that to me, that was clearly set up too. He was clearly injured. They let him left hand dribble in for a dunk and then subbed him out of the game. Like, I
Yeah.
mean,
Giannis
how
Antetokounmpo,
does
0 minutes, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 2 points.
like how does that sort of set up the whole game for anyway?
It ruins his average. That's for sure.
I wonder why he did that. Maybe though it records him as playing in the All-Star game. Maybe that was important to his legacy.
Okay.
Anyway,
Maybe just like he just wanted to be involved and to wave to the fans and show he was honored to have the captaincy.
yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Jason Tatum, PSA 10 silver, $1,250 is the current price, up 13.6% the last 3 months. Look, I need to eat my hat on this one. I was very wary of this guy, maybe 10 or 20 episodes back, and I was saying, like, for me, I was just feeling very uncertain about the whole thing. And I hate to say this, I think this is a buy at the moment because
Crazy, isn't it?
I think they're going to make the finals. I would say the bottom floor for them would be the Eastern Conference Finals. If they do make the Eastern Conference Finals, I'll be, shocked. And then they're in it for a very good chance that they'll make the finals. And, and again, you would expect to see some rise between now and then. That's even if you're playing the short flip game. And then, long term, is he actually going to be an all-timer? Like, it's like the things he's doing now is, even I have to give him credit for that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, yeah.
I was just, I thought I'd have a look, and it looks like other people have done it too.
Sure.
But you know how you've got all the variations and you've got the unnumbered parallels?
Sure.
What's the most common one of those?
Probably a hyper.
Green?
Yeah, or a green.
Now, here's a Boston Celtic. PSA 10, pop count 170. Ready for the last sold?
That's delicious.
$2,700 last sold. That's huge.
Mm.
Now, I went and had a look at it because obviously Boston Celtics are green, the green parallel. Let's see what that looks like. That card is hot.
It's
like that is straight fire. That's like a parallel with team matching color. And it's double the silver prism. More than double the silver prism. It's not often the silver prism gets outclassed, I guess, by
a green.
By the green, yeah. By another unnumbered parallel. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Just thought I'd bring that up. Also, the pop count's very low comparison. There's only 100 and something.
So if you had pockets that were never ending and you could choose between a silver and a green, what would you dip into?
For Tatum, I'd get the green. I like it. I do like it.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah. I do. I do like that. That. I just like the look of the card. If I wanted a Tatum rookie, that would be the one I want on my PC.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the green backgrounds just got me sold.
Yeah.
And I'm a Lakers man. Like that, just
The color match is
the
on
color
point,
match is
isn't it?
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Be like getting a Lakers rookie and having it with a purple background or a gold.
Yeah.
But the gold would be numbered to 10 and worth a fortune.
So speaking about deep pockets and people spending outrageous dollars on cards, so recently in the WNBA Prism set, the black gold
Yes.
1 of 1 Sabrina Ionescu, excuse my pronunciation, rookie card sold for 10,000 USD. So
Props to the WNBA. Like in the card world, in the hobby
yeah,
world, that's making a mark.
again, I've been on record about WNBA Prism breaks specifically. Like they are very, very enjoyable breaks.
Yep.
But being pragmatic about it, the resale of it is not
Difficult.
really. It's not comparable to
It's a
NBA.
smaller market.
Yeah.
Like it's not. There's no. It's not.
So to see that go for 10,000, that's for me.
Yeah.
It's very promising that someone would sort of value it at that point. I suppose I would call that extremely high risk speculation, though.
Yes. Yeah, it's fair.
Like I'm actually really struggling.
Yeah.
Hard to think. What is a higher risk spec at this point in time?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hobby Hangout ad. Tell us about it.
Well, if any, the time of recording, this will be post Melbourne Hobby Hangout, I believe. This launches, so people will either be on their way home from the Hobby Hangout or recovering from their Hobby Hangout hangover in Melbourne.
So this is scheduled to go up on the 5th. I can schedule it for the 4th ad?
So they listen to it on the way.
Sure.
That's fine. Okay, well,
do you want me to do that? Yeah.
Do that. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that.
And that would also give people the chance to maybe go, okay, last second plans, we can.
Yeah, you can jump along, go to the Hobby Hangout. It's
right.
It'd be great. I'll be at the Hobby Hangout. I'll be asking some questions. I'll have like a little pocket recorder to do some Q&A stuff there. So if people recognize me from the show, I'll be the one in the Regulate the Hobby T-shirt with the You Can't Comp This on the back.
Walking around with a microphone saying regulate the hobby.
Yeah. Asking people what I think as I said, I think my question for the Hobby Hangout will be, if you could mandate a rule in the hobby, what would it be and why? What rule would you like to see mandated in our hobby? How would you like to begin the regulation process? Be it registering cards to a certain extent, whatever. But
well, considering I'm not going to be there, can I answer mine now?
Sure. I was going to say you don't get to because you're not going to be there, but I've got my microphone. I've got you. Yeah, all right.
So one thing I wouldn't mind is a platform that you can do trades on in Australia, because we know about our friends with Veriswap.
Yep.
But it's not available in Australia. We actually reached out recently to Raymond to ask him about that, and unfortunately it's not. And I think,
yeah,
because I would say, being pragmatic, some of the reasons why you do have to sell cards is so that you get another card.
Yeah.
But people out there do enjoy trades, and I would say one of the reasons that I'm honestly reluctant to trade is that, you're sending off an asset to someone that you don't really know.
Yeah.
So for me to minimize that risk somehow, I think asking people to do it on a voluntary basis is, it's a lot of work and responsibility, and then they're taking on that sort of financial bonus. I think that's a tough ask for people too. So I think that it's probably not that reasonable to, if you're asking someone every now and again, like, that's fine, but you know what I mean, for someone to be doing it.
Yeah.
So if that was something that could be implemented, I think that would be really nice. How many people would opt into it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's more of a pipe dream than something that I'd actually like to see get done. But yeah, that's my thing. Yeah. What's your thing now we're talking about this? I don't want to open a can of worms here. Try and limit it to one thing.
I haven't really, I don't know. I think I would like to see a rule that stopped shield bidding. I don't know how, but there would be like traceability to bids on eBay and things that would prevent people from bidding if they're too closely linked to a card. But I don't know how you do that. Yeah, this is the problem, right? Like, you want to stop insider trading. You want to stop like people buying things that have been hyperinflated by grotesque shill bidding, and people like spending heaps of money on something they think they're actually bidding against someone and it's nobody.
So, I mean, it's easier for me to say this, but I think for me, the answer to this is actually not that difficult. Use Probstein as a case study and look into their methods of what they do.
Yeah.
And then essentially build the construction of the solution around that. And so whether it's you don't allow accounts with less than five rating points to be making bids, but I suppose then they'll just build up accounts that have more than 5 rating points. But I suppose then you could also identify those accounts a little bit easier.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem with stuff like this is
IP tracking, but I would assume they've got like an IP,
rerouting and VPNs and whatnot.
Yeah,
it's more,
VPN. That's what I was thinking of.
The thing is, right, the more security you try to give people, the more the people that want to break through the security,
they work harder and work around.
Harder to
that's
work
exactly
around.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it'd be an interesting one. I'm sure someone's going to come out and say cards must be shipped in a specific way. There needs to be a handbook on how to send cards out or something like that. I'm sure there'll be something interesting.
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be an interesting question.
So we've ticked over to an hour. So what I was going to suggest, why don't we pick one card each off the Pocket Change post, and then we'll do Andrew Dean's post to finish off.
It sounds delightful. But while we were talking about the hobby hangout,
yeah.
First of all, anybody that's on their way to the hobby hangout today in Melbourne, come along and say hi. I'll be hanging out all day. I'll be having a bit of fun, talking to people, looking at cards, buying, selling, trading, having a coffee, doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
But there was a big announcement recently. The Hobby Hangout Sydney is back, and it will be at the Sydney Roundhouse at the University of New South Wales on Sunday, March 26th. That is not far away at all. That is 3 weeks away. So if you're in New South Wales and you haven't got your tickets yet, tickets to the Hobby Hangout, go and get them. Head on down there. Russell, I'm not going. I can see the look on your face. We're not going to... Are we going to Sydney? Or are you just trying to plan?
No, I'm not going to Sydney.
Okay. I'm just like looking at you like... Are the cogs ticking? Are you plotting?
I was thinking of something to say, but I'm not going to say it. It's all right.
Okay. Yeah. What about Sydney?
No, I was going to say, if you live in southern Queensland, you could duck down to New South Wales for the day, or Sydney if you
if you live in Victoria and want to go on a road trip,
that's a road trip, lads. That would be sweet. Yeah.
That's it. Russell said he's organising a crew. He loves driving so much that he wants to organise a road trip.
Inside joke, everybody. I sold my car. I hate driving that much. I'd rather walk.
Russell's going to do a charity walk to Sydney, starting
and sell my cards. Sell my prison base. Yeah. Alrighty.
Selling prison base to get there. All right, we've gone past the hobby.
We had to narrow it down to one card each because we were trying to save on time. But as you can see, we just
I'm just going to extend it.
Spend time on jokes. So I have to only pick one. I'm gonna try and make fun of John O'Michaels here.
I was going to say, can I get the one
in the spirit of Pocket Change? It has to be less than $50,000 per card, Jono. It's supposed to be like $50 a card, mate. So we have to eliminate pretty much every single card that you put up there. But thank you for contributing, Jono. We love you, mate. And then the one I think that takes my eye the most is Lachlan Blunt. So he picked up a Mark Aguirre Opulent Scripts autograph, 31 out of 49 for $6 USD. That is just delicious. Congratulations, mate. Scored 18,000 points, averaging 20 points per game. And Lachlan even put stats in there for us. He's just the people's champ.
He is. Look, I'm looking at James Gregory, that was his haul, wasn't it?
That's a very good
show.
That's a very good choice, mate. Yeah.
That's a stack of Jordans there, graded Jordans. What else? A Wagner rookie card. There's There's a variety of stuff
A
there.
Premier level rookie card, no less. That looks
Yep.
like a white Jordan Bell too, which is numbered to 199 if I'm correct.
That's sweet.
A
That's
Gortat patch.
Yep.
A Josh Hart rookie card that will do quite well at the moment.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, he's
trending
on fire.
upwards. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And of course, obviously, the GOAT is in there, Michael Jordan. So
A heap of Jordan.
yep.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And
$50 for the lot.
great pickup.
Fantastic.
Alrighty. And our super contributor, Andrew Dean.
And fact checker, Andrew Dean.
Yes. What are your thoughts? Agree or disagree? Who is missing? Who shouldn't be on this list? Shengun is at the top. He's up 55.84%. This list is from Alt. Hachimura is up 15%. Embiid is up 13%. Giddy is up 12%. And Bam is up 9.97%. I'll let you go first, mate.
I am still trying to find the post. I don't know why. I just closed it. Don't ask why. I just
If I kick off?
You can kick off.
All right. So I think Josh Giddey is going to have very solid long-term hobby value. And I think at the moment, people are starting to catch on to him and what he does.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why I wouldn't say invest your house into him is just the fact that how log-jammed that team is. I keep saying this again and again, but you cannot ignore this factor with this team. If Chet comes back and he's any decent, if they get Wembanyama, if they've got SGA and Giddy, do you know what I mean? Like something has to give in that equation. So I like this. I think at the moment, Giddy, prior to that 12%, he was undervalued, particularly in US circles, not so much in Australian circles, but in US, absolutely. So it's good to see that coming up. Embiid, look, I'm sort of still holding the fort on him a little bit, just in the fact that until he wins a championship or he wins an MVP, he's the guy who arguably has got the most talent in the league, but just hasn't, got the job done. Şengün up 55%. This is the one that I would probably say, tread the most carefully with because of just how disgusting Houston is. And the same thing that I said for OKC. If they somehow win the Wembanyama stakes, what's going to happen to Şengün? And I think if they get a coach in there that holds people defensively responsible on rotations and then take them out of games because of failed rotations, I think Şengün is going to really struggle for playing time. Like he is just, he's really problematic in that point. And I know Ados is going to hate on me in PMs as soon as he hears this, but I would probably just say don't get caught up in the stats with Şengün. Actually sit down and watch at least 5 Houston games and just sort of get a grasp on this guy because he's tough. And then I'm going to talk about Bam. I'm not even going to talk about Rui.
Yeah, I think Rui's just a splash in the pit, like just a flash.
Bam is an all-star.
Bloke.
Bam is a Team USA player. Bam plays the right way. He plays both ends of the floor. In some ways, I'm probably most attracted to him out of everyone on this list.
Yeah.
And so
who shouldn't be on the list? You think Rui?
Look, I understand why Rui's there because he's just been traded to the Lakers, and actually he's starting for the Lakers too. So it makes sense.
He's starting and he's not. He's right. They're playing with him. He's a role player. He's not a star. So I wouldn't jump on board the Rui Express just yet.
I don't think he's a star, but I can also understand why he's getting attention to his cards now that he's on prime time every day.
I mean, if we run this report right now, MC Lung
would be up.
Will be
17,000%.
That's it. That's right. I
don't think Şengün should be on this list because I think in terms of hobby relevance, he's really, really tough. And look, this might come back to bite me in that has the same type of development spectrum that Nikola Jokic did, and then all of the skills that he does have in the offensive end, he somehow works out to, stay on the floor defensively. And I might end up looking like an absolute goose, but I'm just that really unhealthy sort of basketball that they're playing. That really worries me. Yeah.
Good stats, bad team.
Very much so.
Yeah. Yeah. No, interesting. So the Alt app is where you get this list. Hot players for the last 30 days. Very interesting that there's some apps out there and websites and stuff you can get. I've sort of been finding a few of these.
Yeah, and I think this is part of the hobby maturing and developing, and that there's a lot more options out there for people to use and
Yeah.
resources to tap into, and
I agree.
ways that you can educate yourself and
Yep.
help you understand, what is happening at the moment in the hobby. So,
Yeah. Well,
I
we said that. We said this already when we spoke to Ryan. He's got mountains of data, but what you do with that data educates you in some aspect, right? So
I think doing graphs like this and making it really easy for people to digest, I think that's, really good. And
yeah,
look, obviously, again, I'm not the best at constructing this criticism of Ryan's product, but I think that's where he needs to get his product to, so that you don't need to sift through spreadsheets. It will produce something for you in a table like this, so you can just look at it graphically and go, Şengün's up this week. Rui's up this week.
That said, I would, once we get your logins all sorted and everything with Card Ladder, have a look at the Gemrate integration, because I think there's not a winner there, and there are other apps and platforms that Gemrate data.
No, don't get me wrong. Like, I think Gemrate is like incredibly important, and what he's done is brilliant. Like, and that's not what I mean. But what I'm saying is, like, and I think there is a place too for people sifting through like hardcore numbers, and I don't want that to go away. But I think if he wants that platform to be reached by 20 million people, it's not going to be reached in an Excel spreadsheet. It has to be reached in a picture or a video, something that for people to digest. Yeah.
But I think that's where he said he struggles. He doesn't know how to lay it out.
Yeah.
His specialty is creating the mountains and mounds of spreadsheets.
Yeah, you can tell his personality type in the baby that he's made, like that. It makes logical sense, didn't it?
Yeah. And look, I mean, if I was good at doing the layout side of things, I'd love to help him with that, because I love looking through that kind of data, but finding ways to sift it and display it and play with it. I think I'd end up just making a glorified, pretty looking spreadsheet like he does. But
or the stats, I suppose, that he's been busting out for us is something that
But I think like he's exploring different ways of getting it out there, and he's finding the right people, as I said, with Card Ladder.
Teaming up with Card Ladder is like genius.
Get onto it. I would definitely recommend we'll have a play with that info at some point.
I think we leave it at genius. I think that should be the key word that we sign off with today, Adam.
Absolute genius.
Yeah.
Let's
good to see you for the third time in 3 days.
Yeah, no, we've been smashing so much content and doing breaks and stuff. I might even jump on and do a live on.
I think you should just like get a guest room at my place. To be honest, like you've been around that much lately.
That's cool. Yeah, well, it's hot. You got better aircon than me, so have to say props to my dogs that haven't barked this episode. I'm pretty happy about that.
They've been excellent.
They've been fantastic. I'm going to go and take them for a walk to reward them. But yes, I'm going to miss you at the Hobby Hangout. Everybody that's going to be at the Hobby Hangout, looking forward to seeing you. If you guys listen to the episode on your way in, come and say hi.
Yeah.
If you're listening on your way home, hopefully you came and said hi. If you didn't, well, then you found out that I was there. And till the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening. Take it easy. See you on the socials.
Bye-bye.